WATDapril26.com, the South Shore's news, weather, and traffic station.
Welcome to the Natural Health and Healing Show with one of New England's leading nutritionists, Mark Mincola. The show is brought to you by the Good Health Stores in Hanover and Quincy. Call Mark at 781-837-4900 with your health and nutrition questions. Now, here's Mark.
Good evening and welcome to the festivities. Catherine Foley, welcome.
Thank you.
You're doing yeoman's hours.
Yes, I am.
I mean, are you doing the program after this program as well?
No, sir. No.
You've been pretty busy here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
You sounded great.
Thank you.
I clicked on the radio on the way down.
Who's that?
Wait a minute, I recognize that voice. I can spot that voice anywhere. Great to have you.
Thank you.
And, of course, welcome to everybody out there, and an interesting series of news-related events, per usual. It just never ends, does it?
Yeah.
Of course, the CDC report that I have in front of me was posted at 12:45 this afternoon. Human cases of swine influenza A virus infection have been identified in the United States. Human cases of swine influenza A virus infection have also been identified internationally. The current U.S. case count is provided below. California, there are 7 cases confirmed. Kansas, 2 cases. New York City, 8 cases. Ohio, 1. And Texas, 2, amounting to a total count of 20 cases of swine flu in the United States. And, of course, you're going to hear an awful lot about it over the next, probably the next week or so, and hopefully only the next week or so.
This stuff just really kind of popped on the radar on Friday. You know, I drive a lot, so I listen to BBC radio and a lot of the news radio channels, and I heard it pop on Friday. I was really quite surprised. It you know, they were being very careful about, you know, how they were reporting it, and at that time there was only 2 cases reported in the U.S., and then yesterday I heard Saturday it was up to 8. And then yesterday, it has increased significantly with the new cases in New York City, so it's very concerning.
Well, and it's disturbing for more reasons than one.
Right.
First of all, it really disturbs me that the American public is so played with.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just toying with the American consciousness out there.
Yeah.
And it's disturbing to me that so many folks out there are not really given the complete picture. They're not They're not being given the solutional possibilities here. You know, I always speak to the fact that in 1982, at the Center for Disease Control, Dr. John Kabar and Heyerholzer basically did their research at the CDC down in Atlanta, and they've, of course, discovered that what we think of as monolaurin lauric acid was effective against influenza A.
Right.
Well, we're talking about influenza A. And again, 1982, we actually had research at the Center for Disease Control that told us that they specifically did identify with a lipid from coconut oil that was able to abort and ameliorate infection from influenza A. But who knows about that? Virtually nobody knows about that. So, you know, whenever I give a talk somewhere, you know, you have 100 people in a room, and I ask how many people have ever heard of this research, and you never see more than 1 or 2 people, maybe, if you've got a really educated audience that really is in the know about some of the cutting-edge information that's out there. But this should not be cutting-edge information. This shouldn't be rare information. This should be common information. If somebody really had the proper intention here, if the people in leadership had the proper intentions to educate people as to prevention, but when you got a $2.1 trillion healthcare budget and only 1% is going to prevention, we know what it's all about. It's all about treatment. It's all about the idea of directing a revenue stream for treatment, and it's quite reprehensible, if you ask me.
Well, they're already talking about
stockpiling Tamiflu
and vaccinations.
And who owns Tamiflu?
Yeah, Merck.
Yeah, well, Merck and you know, recently, remember the Baxter research that we talked about, the Baxter International Research, where they found some tainted vaccines that had influenza A tainted in flu vaccines.
Right.
And you have to go through about 103 signed checkpoints for that to happen from two very different facilities in two very different parts of Europe.
Coming from my background with biotech and biochemistry, it's impossible to take a test tube out of one of those facilities and walk down the hallway with it. You can't.
What they basically suggested is it was error.
Yeah.
It couldn't have possibly been error.
No.
So it's all pretty fishy. It's all pretty rotten to me. And most important thing is that folks out there do not panic. By the way, did you see the advice that the Center for Disease Control gives people in the event of these viral outbreaks?
No.
Cover your nose and mouth with a tissue when you cough or sneeze.
Mm-hmm.
Throw the tissue in a trash after you use it. Number 2, wash your hands often with soap and water, especially after you cough or sneeze. Alcohol-based hand cleaners are also effective. Number 3, try to avoid close contact with sick people. Number 4, if you get sick, the CDC recommends that you stay home from work or school and limit contact with others to keep from infecting them. And finally, avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth. Germs spread that way. It's like, is this Captain Kangaroo? I mean, excuse me, but this sort of, it gives me the impression that we're talking down to the American public.
Right, absolutely.
And it's probably not the first time that you would want to make such a conclusion. But look, we're better than that. We deserve more than that. And I think that the information that we're letting people tune into here is representative of the latest and the most important, significant information. In the event that there is any kind of funny business and swine flu outbreak or influenza outbreak from bird flu for that matter, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have some monolaurin or some lauricidin. You want to make sure that I also really like the andrographis quite a bit too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So andrographis is most readily available in the health food store chains around here is something called Cold Care, spelled with a K.
Yeah.
Koldkare. So Cold Care and monolaurin. Those are the two things you want to keep on hand because if ever things are kicking up and starting to spread, you'll have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, and those are some of the items that we frequently talk about having in your emergency first aid kit, right?
Absolutely, and it's a great idea. We should do, we've got to do that program sometime.
Yeah, really.
That's a great theme for a show.
Yep.
And it seems like we're entering into the kind of territory here where that's probably going to be much, much more important to do a program such as that.
The oregano oil is one that you talk about a lot, too.
Absolutely true.
And that helps with bacterial infections as well.
Well, so much for the human swine flu problem that everybody is now suddenly concerned about out there. That is not the main topic of the evening, however. I just wanted to make sure that we did talk about that because it is certainly at the top of the news. What we're really going to talk about when we come back from break is getting smarter naturally. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about folks who have concentration problems, memory problems, focus problems, mental clarity problems, and mood shifts.
Whoa.
So we're going to tell you how to get smarter naturally. Stay right there. Be right back.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health, proud sponsor of the Health and Healing Show. These are challenging economic times, and Good Health Natural Foods wants to help. We're a small, family-owned market, and for 31 years, when you've had to tighten your belt, so have we. Good Health offers the very finest organic produce, natural and gluten-free groceries, vitamins, herbs, homeopathics, and beauty products. So make every dollar count. For the holidays, you'll find clean, organic cosmetics, beautiful soy candles, and salt lamps. All our products are available at our everyday low prices. Come by and see us in Quincy Center or Route 53 in Hanover. Visit GoodHealthNaturalFood.com. Good Health, the intelligent choice for everything healthful and economical. Thanks for listening to the Health and Healing Show. See you soon.
Right in our area, we are fortunate to have one of the top martial arts schools in the country, Personal Best Karate. Personal Best has been recognized for their community involvement, professional staff development, character building programs, and exciting educational curriculum. Personal Best stands at the top of their industry. 5 locations offering personalized professional instruction
Not sure if karate is right for you? At no obligation, the staff at Personal Best will guide you in a private introductory program to see if karate is indeed the right fit to help you achieve your goals and meet your needs. What does karate at Personal Best teach you? Character building, success habits, helps you get in shape, relieve stress, self-control, setting goals, and of course, self-defense. Personal Best's goal is to create successful, contributing members of society through the practice of the martial arts at Personal Best. Mr. Chris Rappold is, of course, the founder of Personal Best Karate. He tells me his greatest joy of all is to see the personal transformation in each and every student. Bring out your best with Personal Best Karate. Telephone number 508-285-5425. That's 508-285-5425. Locations in Norton, Foxborough, Southeaston, Franklin, and Taunton. That's Personal Best Karate. Alrighty, welcome back, and hope everybody's enjoying the spectacular spring weather out there. It is truly amazing out there. It just came from out of the blue, too.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, it was, typical sort of early spring weather out there, and then pow, it just turned summer, in an instant. Of course, that's destined to turn around again, I guess.
That's New England.
That's New England, but it was certainly an awful lot of fun, wasn't it, huh?
Oh, it was gorgeous.
Up in Boston last night, it was lovely up there.
Yeah, I did a volunteer event yesterday where we got a $4,000 grant to plant some native plants right around a rotary that is right at the ocean, so that rotary will be more sustainable and will retain the water, and the plants are indigenous to the oceanfront. So it was really nice. We had about 30 volunteers come out, and it was wonderful.
Wonderful job. That's great. Good stuff. All right, as we've promised, we're going to talk this evening about getting smarter naturally, and there are some remarkable natural supplements out there that a lot of people don't know a whole lot about.
Right.
And, we want to make sure that folks get a little bit of information, so they want to, grab those pens and those notebooks. We're going to talk. An awful lot of folks out there have children who've been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD.
Right.
There's so many folks that I constantly hear from, both in my office, and I get a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls.
Wow.
Isn't there something other than Ritalin?
Yeah.
And, of course, the answer to that is yes.
There's a lot more.
There's a lot more. And one of the things that I really, really love is I love the DMAE. In fact, I love the Jarrow DMAE.
Yeah.
It's a great product, but there have been double-blind studies that have clearly indicated that those folks with learning disabilities or those young people diagnosed with ADHD have really done remarkably well with DMAE. In fact, I have a great story. There was a woman who approached me as I was leaving the corporate environment, probably about a month or two ago, and she conveyed to me that she had a daughter who had tested got it in the 20 percentile in her reading comprehension test. She said, "Is there anything that we could do for her? Anything?" I said, "Yes, put her on 100 milligrams of DMAE twice a day."
Right.
And I saw her 2 weeks later to the day. And she said her reading comprehension went from 20 to 80% in 2 weeks on DME.
Right, because you have to be able to focus, to retain the information, and you actually almost have to disappear in the reading to understand.
Yes, and there have been studies, children ages 6 to 12 who were diagnosed with hyperkinesia also, who've been using, the DMAE. They use 300 to 500 milligrams daily. And they checked them they followed them for a period of 10 weeks, and they found some remarkable improvements in test scores for those folks who were taking the DME over placebo.
Wow.
There are very few supplements that I really get this excited about.
Right.
And I use it whenever I'm doing presentations, etc., just to make sure I have every possible edge. But the way that it works apparently is it increases the receptor response in the brain for the choline that's produced in the body.
Right.
And what a great way to emulsify and activate the neurotransmissions up there, and to really activate the brain centers in with regards to learning, etc.
Right.
So
It's a remarkable product, and I love it. Like I said, the Jarrow product is the one that I use. I really like it a lot.
It's an excellent raw material, and it's reasonably priced, so it's something that you can use and give it a shot. And, Mark, it's like we're ending a school year, and today was a great reminder that we're heading into the summer months. So some of these nutritional applications, for kids, it's a great kind of summer program, while your kids are not in school and they don't have the pressures of, the schedule and all of the homework, to get them on a nutritional program to prepare them for September of the next year.
Well, in the Ritalin study, there were 74 children in the Ritalin study, and they compared Ritalin in terms of its effects for learning and attention to Ritalin. So it was Ritalin and the DMAE compared head-to-head.
Right.
They found that, mechanically speaking, there was no difference. They both actually performed the same exact efficiency results, but of course there were no side effects with the DMAE.
Right, and you and I have talked before about the long-term side effects of Ritalin being, opening up those opiate receptors way too much and almost setting kids up for manic and bipolar disorder later in life.
Exactly, and the DMAE actually is something that is, I think, very affordable, very easy to obtain. You don't have the worry of side effects, and virtually anybody is safe to use it. It is dimethylaminoethanol, or just to you, it's DMAE. Yeah. It's a biochemical precursor to acetylcholine, as we were saying a little while ago, found naturally in sardines and anchovies. They're reported to have neurotropic effects as well. It's believed to really support brain function in a variety of different areas: vigilance, alertness, positive influence on mood.
Wow.
So it's a remarkable supplement. And I find I get all of those effects when I use 200 milligrams a day.
Oh, it's amazing.
It is amazing, and I'm really enthusiastic about recommending it. I love the effects that I get with it, using it in my life, and I'm really thrilled to say that so many families have reported remarkable benefits with their children with ADD and ADHD with it. I mean, really quickly, too. It doesn't take long for it to produce positive effects.
Oh, not at all.
So DMAE is a great product, and Jarrow does produce one. It's 100 milligrams. That's the one that I take 2 of those a day, and I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it if somebody is looking to enhance their prospects for getting smarter naturally. So if you want to focus on concentration, memory, mental clarity, mood, and mental focus, again, DMAE is top of the list as far as I'm concerned. You couldn't do better than that.
And that from Jarrow, 100 milligrams, 100 tabs, is $10.95 retail. And, folks, a lot of your co-payments for your prescription for Ritalin is the same amount, $10. So it's a small investment to make in something that could have dramatic benefit and less side effects, and make you feel better all around.
Absolutely true. This is actually a little piece from Life Extension. And it goes on, parents of children with ADHD know firsthand the difficulty of getting their children to remain focused in a typical structural learning environment. Prescription drugs like Ritalin have long been a common choice in the treatment of ADHD, but a growing number of physicians find Ritalin and related medications to be potentially dangerous.
Yeah.
As a result, more parents are investigating alternative and more natural therapies like DMAE, which have shown promising results and fewer potential adverse side effects in a number of studies. So it's a remarkable product, and it's, again, very safe to use. We got Jay on the line. Welcome, Jay.
I don't hear anything. Hello?
Jay, can you hear us now? Larry, I think he's having a hard time picking us up. Jay, are you there? Well, you know what? Try calling back, and Larry will try to work out those glitches. Larry, you'll see to that, and we'll get back with Jay hopefully in a moment or two. We've not heard from him in a long time. I'd love to check in with him. But you were starting to say something too about the DMAE. The DMAE is something that I think parents can utilize with great confidence.
Right. And, some of it supports acetylcholine production, and sometimes the cholines are really, really hard to digest if you take them in a supplement form in the body. And so DMAE just being such a more potent precursor and a direct precursor.
Well, and you know one of the things that I find most astounding and puzzling about
Right.
DMAE is that most of the research says that it enhances alertness, and yet it enhances sleep prospects.
Yeah.
So it's obviously working on the brain in such a way as to create a great learning capacity and a great capacity to enhance memory, etc. So you're activating these vectors in the brain without driving your adrenal glands into the picture here to the point where you can't sleep at night.
Well, and that's what Ritalin does.
And that's what Ritalin does.
Right.
So that's really key here. So great to think that you can get your mood up and get your energy up, especially the energy in your brain,
Right.
and yet you'll sleep better.
Yeah, because your brain patterns are falling into line.
I mean, you can't beat that. That's great stuff. Jay, I think we've got you back. How are you?
Good evening. Thanks.
Great to talk to you.
Apologize for the interruption there. My phone was a problem. I just had a question about the DMAE. I'm listening carefully. It sounds fascinating, like much better than caffeine, when you've got a long session to do or something.
Absolutely.
But what about the, you mentioned the 100 milligrams twice a day.
Yes.
But what about durations? Is this something that would be used at spots and not, day after day for a month or something like that? In other words, how does it cycle?
Well, I think first of all, we're all cutting new ground here. So my sense about it is I tend to use it episodically. If I know I've got a presentation, if I've got something that I really want to be crackerjack for, special meetings or something like that, or if in the case of a student that had an exam to deal with or something along those lines, I'd really fire up a couple 100 milligrams for that occasion. It's not going to hurt you to take 100 milligrams a day, however. So
Right.
I think the dose differential is the answer there, Jay. I think, 100 a day, 100 milligrams a day on an ongoing basis is going to work just fine for you. I think
Right.
for a special presentation, you might want to go to 2, and a lot of this research says even in some cases up to 300 or 400 milligrams, but I can't imagine that being necessary based on my usage. So I'd tell you if you want to do 100 just to kind of keep things fairly sharp, to go ahead and do that and feel confident in that. But certainly at the very least to use 200 episodically.
Right, but the point you're talking about right here is episodically, not something for a constant, lifelong use, right? Because then wouldn't you run into some issues with the brain adapting to the new levels?
Well, no, because I think I understand your point, but I think there's a big difference between pharmaceutical drugs and some of these natural precursors to various neurotransmitters in the body. And I think it's a little different. These are more orthomolecular. The idea that when you get a missing molecule and you fill in the blank, you're actually providing a natural support that your body is not going to compensate around. Does that make sense?
It does, and I just thank you very much. And I just want to let you know that I was listening to you one night on DHEA.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
And it did have a beneficial effect on, asthmatic type thing in the pollen season.
Wow.
Great.
So I appreciate it, and thank you all.
More than welcome. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night now. So, the idea, too, here, folks, when you're talking about DMAE is DMAE has a number of different properties as well, but this is another piece from the Life Extension site that I went to today. Recent studies involving a gel formulation containing DMAE have shown that the compound can increase skin firmness, even in younger subjects. Healthy adults between the ages of 36 and 49 were given tests that measured changes in skin tautness after application with a DMAE gel compared to placebo, and they found significantly greater tautness in the skin.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. It's great stuff. But, I think that the way that they said here, DMAE may enhance water retention in connective skin tissue, causing the surface of the skin to tighten. Second and more likely explanation, DMAE's cholinergic feature, which enhances the skin's ability to transmit acetylcholine. The neurotransmission's function in sending signals from nerves to muscles may promote a form of muscle tightening in the skin.
Well, DMAE was part of the Dr. Perricone.
Yes, indeed. You're right.
Alpha-lipoic acid,
Yes.
DMAE serums. And there were some companies, natural companies, that formulated off of that. So you can still find DMAE serums out there on the market.
And it's a free radical scavenger, of course. So those free radicals that are looking to cause heart disease and cancer, it'll basically antagonize those free radicals.
Yeah.
So it's a remarkable supplement, and some interesting nerve signaling, though, isn't it? Huh? It's pretty fascinating stuff. And the other thing I wanted to bring in here, too, is that the neurotropic that Jarrow Formulas has. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
We make a really neat formula called Neuro Optimizer, and there are a couple formulas that Jarrow makes that, for me, validated the reason why I wanted to work for them as a company. One was Magnesium Optimizer, magnesium, taurine, and potassium, and the other was Neuro Optimizer. I had this one poignant moment, and I was working at a health food store in California, and one of my staff members was helping the customer, and he came up and, I don't have any energy, I'm not thinking clearly, I need something for my brain. And so she gives him this formula that I was very familiar with, and it was a brain formula. And almost every single brain formula out there on the market has Shazandra, Gotu Kola, Malwang, ephedrine. And what this does is it increases brain function by increasing heart rate and circulation.
Adrenal function.
Adrenal function.
Like Ritalin.
It's like Ritalin. It's
like a natural rhythm.
It's a natural Ritalin.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I saw this customer go out the door, and what is very concerning is that as he grabbed the bag and his hand went down by his side, a medical alert bracelet, fell out of his shirt. So, and he was an older gentleman, and I'm thinking, if this person has any sort of heart disease whatsoever, this stuff is going to run his heart rate up to about 120 beats per minute resting, and he's going to have a panic attack.
Clearly contraindicated for this gentleman.
Yeah, something like that. And this is the clientele that usually goes after brain boosters and brain formulas is, they're starting to have cloudy thinking, they're, trying to catch up and all of that stuff. And so Jarrow Formulas makes a product called Neuro Optimizer, and there are no cardiovascular adrenal system stimulants in there. It's acetylcholine, it's phosphatidylserine, it's brain nutrients. It treats the brain, not the cardiovascular system.
Not the adrenal, not the stress glands, because if you think about it, the shortcut and I guess I would call it the dangerous shortcut for increasing energy in the human body is to stimulate the adrenal glands to produce epinephrine. That is the dangerous shortcut.
Well, what you're doing is you're turning on the
emergency signals.
Fight or flight response system, and that's what Ritalin is doing as well. And
that's called stress chemistry.
It's called stress chemistry.
I got an idea. If you want to think better, let's stress the heck out of it. There's a great solution.
And then that just causes so much fatigue, and it's so dangerous to push your heart rate like that. And we've talked a lot about heart rate being the key to life, being the key to spiritual force. The longer you have, the slower your heart rate is, the better condition your health is in.
Absolutely.
And so by speeding up that heart, you are speeding up your disease state.
Yep.
Absolutely. And so Neuro Optimizer is phosphatidylserine.
It's almost like we said, too, about the DMAE. It's one of those things that it says, look, we're not going to give you the dangerous shortcut approach here.
Right.
We're going to increase your brain function, all your smarts, and stimulate your brain without stimulating your stress hormones in your adrenal glands.
Absolutely.
So we're going to help you think better, more clearly, and more receptively, but we're going to actually make sure you sleep well at the same time. So you're not going to disturb sleep or relaxation patterns. So stimulating the right parts of the brain and allowing the body to remain relaxed.
You bet.
And that is exactly where it's at. Again, that's the Jarrow Neuro Optimizer. We're going to take a short little break, and we're going to come back with getting you smarter naturally. Stay right where you are.
This is Catherine
from Jarrow Formulas. We're happy to have continued our relationship with Mark Mincola in the Health and Healing Show, and we're happy to announce a new product from Jarrow Formulas called Jarrow Cell. We all know that as the body ages, it heals less rapidly and becomes frailer. Often the body is unable to process enough nutrients to repair weakening cartilage and protein fibers. A very important element in building and repairing your body is silicon. But unfortunately, as we grow, you may have difficulty absorbing adequate silicon from your diet. But now, thanks to a product called Jarrow Cell, you can be sure to get your share. Jarrow Cell can give you the silicon you need to support your bone health, bone mineral density, and in addition, Jarrow Cell strengthens and beautifies your hair, skin, and nails. Jarrow Cell is available now in a synergistic liquid formula that also includes boron and zinc. Ask for Jarrow Cell at your local health food stores. Or for more information, you can go to the Jarrow website, which is www.jarrow.com.
Would you like to dramatically improve your memory and your attitude? Perhaps you'd like to uplift your negative thinking and completely transform your life. Hello, this is Mark Mincola of the Natural Health and Healing Show. Join me on Thursday evening, May 7th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Rockland Holiday Inn, 929 Hingham Street for a talk entitled Train Your Brain, Change Your Mind, Transform Your Life. Tickets are $20 in advance. To register, call Candide at 781-834-2728 or log on to www.thehealthylivingguide.com. Come and learn to train your brain, change your mind, and transform your life. Alrighty, welcome back. And we got some interesting events coming up. On May 7th, of course, I have a presentation at the Holiday Inn in right around the corner here in Rockland.
Wow.
And that should be a really great event. And we're going to basically cover a little bit of this action here because we're going to talk about people improving brain function and improving the way in which their mind works and helping people to sort of develop new thought patterns, away from those old disease thought patterns and into more positive thinking patterns. People will be amazed at the new research on this, that we really do have options at the way that our brain functions and the way that our thoughts function. Most people think, my brain's not working right, or my thoughts are negative, or, I have, the same kind of negative thought patterns my mother had, my father had, so I'm just stuck to the genetic trap here, But that's absolutely untrue. Virtually everybody, one of the remarkable researches they did, Fred Gage did at the Salk Institute with Peter Erickson back in 1993, he actually found that they found that folks who were in their 70s and 80s who were terminally ill, when they were given some of these exercises, these brain exercises, they actually agreed to donate their brains to science after they passed away. And, of course, again, they were 70 and 80-year-old people who were terminally ill.
Wow.
So they agreed to get into this study. And they gave them these exercises, brain exercises.
Wow.
And they evaluated their brain tissues after they'd passed away, and they found that they were producing new cell activity, new neuron activity.
Which is
the equivalent of a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Terminally ill 70 and 80-year-old people who are producing the same brain machinery as a 12-year-old.
Wow.
So they immediately dispelled that old myth that I'm too old, or my mother, or my father, the genes, etc. There's no excuses anymore.
No, there absolutely isn't. And, for a lot of people, just two things really quick. The Tufts University has this ongoing study called the Centenarian Project.
Oh, yes.
Where every time somebody turns 100, they get enrolled in this observational study, and they interview them and follow them. And they had this really great show where they did a summary of all of this research. And the end result of a lot of what they find is that people that live well into their hundreds are people that have a generally positive and easygoing outlook on life. So they're people that have built positive brain patterns for themselves.
And how about life quality? How about life quality? Those people are not only living long lives, but they're living the kind of lives that you'd want to live for a long time.
Yeah. So those kind of things, that is, and
it's a choice.
Yeah.
And it's the manner in which you use the wonderful machinery of brain and mind. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about. We're going to give people the latest research. We're going to give them some wonderful activities, exercise-type activities for brain, for mind.
Yeah.
That's going to be the 7th of May. It's a Thursday night. It's going to be at the Rockland Holiday Inn, 7 to 9 p.m. Folks interested, you can call Candida, 781-834-2728. That's 781-834-2728. Hope to see you there. And that ties in with what we're talking about this evening.
No, absolutely, because you can work on the physical health of your brain with nutrients, but there is a huge side, of brain health that is the imagery. And if you're living in that stress response state for so long, there are certain thought patterns that you develop during that stress response state that stay.
But can be changed.
That should be changed.
No, but can be changed.
It must be changed.
Yeah, that's right. That's more like it. But the amazing thing is a lot of people think that they can't change that. That's a myth.
And a lot of people don't know that they're in that pattern.
Well, again, a lot of the research at the University of Wisconsin, Mark Brown down at Columbia, Michael Mrzenich out at the University of California, Richard Davidson out at Wisconsin, all these researchers, all these great studies are clearly indicating that the brain, when they hook people up to these electrodes and do these PET scans, when they give them these different thought exercises, simple little thought exercises, 10 minutes a day for 12 weeks, they completely relight a whole section of the brain up that, a positive, optimistic section of the brain. And in the corporate environment, I've actually been doing a lot of these programs, and we're doing these extensive tests and questionnaires. We actually, one of the studies we did, we ran blood tests with lipid levels, cholesterols, and all that sort of stuff on people who were just in positive thinking programs with me.
Goodness.
Okay, we didn't change their diet at all. Not one bit. So we checked them over a period of 12 weeks. Their cholesterols all dropped significantly. Their triglycerides dropped significantly. All their bloods improved with 10 minutes a day of positive thinking. 10 minutes a day. Not changing anything but their thought patterns for 10 minutes a day. So turn the car radio off. Turn the cell phone off for 10 minutes of that drive to work, from work, on the way to the grocery store, whatever. But that's the kind of stuff we're going to talk about. One of the things I wanted to get to, too, you talked about the neurooptimizer and the phosphatidylserine. I want you to talk about that a little bit. Phosphatidylserine is a great, great product for folks who want to get smarter naturally.
Phosphatidylserine is in a category of what we call phospholipids. And phospholipids are not only neurotransmitters but insulators as well of the nerve system, the myelin sheath, and things like that. So Dr. Paris Kidd, who did tons and tons of research on phospholipids and phosphatidylserine, was the researcher that brought the clinical studies together for phosphatidylserine for Parkinson's disease. And with phosphatidylserine, you're basically able to, stop, Parkinson's from progressing. So it has an amazing benefit on focusing the nervous system, nourishing the nervous system tissue, and supporting transmissions.
Well, and the thing I took a peek at, too, in the Journal of Neurology, there's a remarkable study of 149 healthy men and women ages 50 to 70 who took 100 milligrams of phosphatidylserine, or PS, which if you go to the health food store, just ask for PS. But they took 100 milligrams of PS a day once a day for 12 weeks, or placebo. And they found that those with the PS noted significant improvements with recall of names, numbers, faces, paragraph memorization, finding misplaced objects, concentration on tasks, performances. Placebos, no change whatsoever.
Right.
So there's no question about its ability to reverse that brain aging process. In fact, one of the authors of that study suggested that you can reverse the aging process in the brain 12 years over the course of a lifetime with phosphatidylserine supplementation.
And that being said, a lot of with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and there's a deterioration of the tissue due to plaque buildup and free radical accumulation in the brain tissue, heavy metals, and all of that stuff. So a lot of the things that we're talking about are neurotransmitters, they're brain nutrients, but they are free radical scavengers as well. Yes. So that's an additional way that they help reverse the aging of the brain tissue.
Right. And the Italians, the Dutch, there's been a lot of European studies on phosphatidylserine. Not a lot in the United States.
I know I just laugh because they're so. every time I think Italian, I think Dr. Lautaro at 90 wailing past me, running in a full sprint because he's taking CoQ10.
that's the other greatest tip in the world. I mean, I think since I've been taking the Q-Absorb, I can't tell you how much. Honest to God, I'm going to tell you that it's made such a remarkable difference. I think the two supplements that I really like the best, really that have excited me most in the last 10 years, are the Jarrow Q-Absorb and the Jarrow DMAE.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I feel bulletproof with those. Those things are just
Buongiorno, Dr. Lattaro.
Buongiorno, Dr. Lattaro. Yeah. All right. I also want to talk a little bit about B12, vitamin B12.
Really important.
It is really important. A lot of remarkable research. Again, the Dutch have done a tremendous amount of research on B12 in terms of brain function, in terms of memory loss, mood changes, disorientation, balance problems in the brain. Trust me when I tell you this, folks, there's an awful lot of you out there listening who don't know that you have a B12 deficiency. A lot of physicians are just not inclined and not trained like the older doctors were. I mean, the old family doctors were really kind of cued into B12 deficiencies.
Absolutely.
There's a lot more people now with retroviruses, a lot of herpetic viruses. The numbers for cytomegaloviruses and Epstein-Barr, these retroviruses, of course, unfortunately, are a growing problem right now. And the more of these retroviruses come into play here, the more the nervous system becomes ravaged, and B12 becomes markedly less in the body, because B12 is a nerve membrane stabilizer. And so it's really, really important to realize that you could have all the greatest intentions imaginable, but if your nervous system is not capable of putting those problems in life behind you because they're just overwhelmingly stressful to your nervous system, and you're B12 deficient, forget it.
Yeah, absolutely. And another really important thing about B12 is it's a blood builder as well. And I really, really, really encourage people, especially women, because women are very often diagnosed as iron deficient. I really encourage women to take B12 and lactoferrin as opposed to free iron. There have been a lot of studies about brain health and Alzheimer's patients that have shown an accumulation of oxidized iron in the brain, either coming from food source or meats, heavy meats. And, iron is just really tough to metabolize by the body. And so a combination of B12 and lactoferrin.
That's great advice for intrinsic support.
Yeah, lactoferrin binds the free iron, and also those viruses that you talk about, they feed off of free iron in the bloodstream. So the more free iron you have, the more opportunity they have to grow and replicate. So B12, for helping the hemoglobin build so that you can bind the iron, and then lactoferrin to really hold it in there. You're building your iron levels, but also building your energy levels as well. So
it's great advice. Great advice. The other thing I wanted to mention here real quickly is I wanted to get on to talk a little bit about DHA. We've talked about DHA on a number of different occasions. Of course, it is docosahexaenoic acid, or fish oil. It's one of the essential fatty acids in those fish oil capsules and in the fatty fish that everybody is suddenly all together about getting out and getting into. So, the DHA is really the important key issue here. A number of remarkable studies published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Dr. Joseph Hiblin and Dr. Norman Salin were the researchers at the National Institute of Health that have done all that great research in terms of the importance of DHA as being a mood elevator, a natural antidepressant, in enabling the brain to function more clearly with memory, recall, etc. So you want to make sure that you oxidize your body and oxidize your brain with DHA. And again, there's no shortage of availability out there these days. There's DHA supplements virtually in every front and center in every health food store.
And there's actually a lot of food products that companies are starting to add DHA in. I just recently saw a children's yogurt with DHA in it, which is amazing. So,
Wow.
I saw cottage cheese with lactobacillus bacteria in it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I think we should start doing something like lactoferrin and M&Ms or something.
Don't you think? That's funny. But I've been lucky enough. I've worked in this industry for many years, and as you have too, I've been lucky enough to see so many women who took DHA during their pregnancy, and then the babies grow up with supplemental DHA after that, and their development they are typically 2 or 3 years ahead developmentally than their
No question
scheduled
about it.
to be.
You remember years ago when we were all kids, I remember
Cod
way
liver
back,
oil.
we used to talk about fish's brain food,
Right.
and we laughed.
Yeah.
I guess somebody knew something,
Yeah.
And we have to caution people, because if you do get the Jarrow chewable DHAs, it's really easy to eat an awful lot of those.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
I mean, those things are delicious.
Yeah.
They're dangerously delicious.
Yeah, I will say they get me through some traffic jams when I'm almost home and I'm so hungry. And
now you have to remind me, what is it, about 125 milligrams or something per chewy?
Yep.
So you don't want more than 2 of those.
Yeah.
And it's easy to eat 3 or more.
Yeah. We also have a liquid DHA. It's a lemon flavor, for the real young folks.
But I do recommend for virtually everybody out there. In fact, if you've got a sweet tooth and you finish dinner and you want to do something really healthy, just eat 1 or 2 of those Jarrow chewable DHAs, because they'll take care of that.
I hit up the Yum Yum Dophilus every once in a while too.
Man, I'm telling you, delicious stuff. But seriously, the DHA is extremely important here in terms of getting smarter naturally brain function. And keeping, like we said, the idea of keeping that brain properly oxygenated,
right.
And keeping that the neurotransmissions in your brain active, and a lot of nerve. There's a ton of nerve traffic up there, and there's a lot of nerve communication up there. And the better oxygenated your brain, and the better enhanced the neurotransmission responses are in your brain, I'm telling you, you're going to find recall, memory, mood, all these things are going to improve pretty dramatically here. So DHA is a very, very vital part of the process.
And I have to say, too, for women to have the complicating factor of the hormonal cycle and, progesterone and estrogen and, like I tell my girlfriends all the time, remember, estrogen is the crazy molecule. And, to kind of try to separate yourself and know where you are in that cycle. And you're not going crazy because the world is going crazy around you, but just tune into yourself and see that maybe your hormones may be a little bit, out of control.
Right.
And so DHA, DMAE are wonderful nutrients to help women with cognitive function, and mood modulation during those periods as well.
Yes, absolutely true. And easy to obtain, as we said. Now, I'm sure there's going to be people out there that are going to have the question of, well, what about the EPAs?
Yeah.
Because my fish oil has both.
Yep.
What does that mean? Should I not take this, or the next time I go to the health food store, should I just get the DHA and not the EPAs? What say you?
I would say, if you're looking for mood modulation, go with the EPA DHA combination. If you're looking for cognitive function, DHA.
Yes. If you want to get smarter naturally, go with the DHA. Yeah. I don't know if is Larry in there anywhere. Yes, he's hiding out there, probably eating some DHAs right now.
Where did he come from?
We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Join us for the 9th International Herb Symposium, celebrating the healing power of plants, June 19th through the 21st. It's a symposium to touch your heart and soul, as well as mind and spirit. This gathering is for all people enraptured by the healing essence of herbs. Learn from an extraordinary gathering of herbal teachers, elders, and healers from all around the world. Over 90 workshops for all levels of interest and experience. Over 50 teachers representing 12 countries. Herbal intensives for in-depth study, panel discussions and case studies, hands-on demonstrations, and wild plant identification walks, and an herbal marketplace, evening entertainment, and dancing. The 9th International Herb Symposium, June 19th through the 21st, will be held at the beautiful Wheaton College in Norton. To register or for more information, call 802-479-9825. That's 802-479-9825. Or log on to internationalherbsymposium.com.
Hi there, this is Mark Minkole, the Natural Health and Healing Show. I know that so many of you out there are passionate about the latest cutting-edge nutritional information, would like to go on to that next level. I'm proud to announce that our new natural health care offices in Cohasset are offering personalized nutritional consultations. At Santi Holistic Healing, you'll experience an informative, individualized nutritional consultation by one of my finest personally trained nutritional experts. Your consultant will test you for specific food allergies and supplements. Together, you'll chart out a personalized, optimal nutritional roadmap that will detail your healthiest foods and nutritional supplements, even specific doses. If that's not enough, we also offer relaxing healing massage at Santi Holistic Healing. Whether it's nutritional consulting or healing massage that you're interested in, we at Santi Holistic Healing are prepared to give you the healing experience of a lifetime. Call us at 781-383-3393. That's 781-383-3393 for the healing experience of a lifetime. Alrighty, welcome back. You know, one of the things we like to do on this broadcast is tell everybody how special Good Health Natural Foods is.
And because we were talking about how special Laura is this evening.
Laura's got a great voice.
I think so.
She does amazing commercials, and she soothes the savage beast in all of us, doesn't she? She has a way of... This segment is...
Larry.
What is one to do with Larry? But anyway, Good Health Natural Foods, of course, is at your beckoning call, waiting to take care of your natural health needs. Of course, they're loaded with some remarkable supplements like Jar Formulas, thanks to Catherine Foley.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of great organic produce over there. And as we've said on this broadcast many a time, organic food, its time is here, folks.
Yep. I bet they have organic kale.
They do.
Right.
And don't underestimate their capacity to take care of your needs, please. Good Health Natural Foods is there to help educate you and to get you clear about exactly what the vitamin story is for you. They're really amazingly educated as far as health food stores goes.
And I suppose that's mentioned just because we had such an extraordinary warm day today for people to go in there and get their natural sunscreens.
Absolutely, absolutely. And they're stacked with all kinds of different skincare for Burt's Bees and all that stuff. So, you know, when you want to get your business sorted out as far as natural foods, organic produce, all your vitamins, minerals, and great bodybuilding section over there for those folks out there interested in that as well. So that's Good Health Natural Foods, 1637 Hancock Street, and that's, of course, Quincy, 617-773-4925, or 219 Columbia Road down in Hanover, 781-826-0808 for all things natural. It is Good Health Natural Foods. And, of course, they have the products we've been talking about this evening. They have the DMAE, the Jarrow DMAE that I like so much. Also phosphatidylcholine, phosphatidylserine, and of course they have, if you know, we were saying during the break a little while ago, if you want one-stop shopping for getting smart naturally, I would say there's two things that folks really want to focus on. Two things, two supplements, folks. The Jarrow DMAE, that's 100 milligrams, I'd say 2 a day, and the Jarrow Neuro Optimizer that Catherine was talking about a little bit ago. And that's already got your phosphatidylserine in it, your phosphatidylcholine. So
alpha-lipoic acid to help with glucose regulation in the brain.
Right. And, you know, they basically got the bases covered really in one shot there. So the DMAE and the Neuro Optimizer work exceptionally well together. You really will notice a difference. That's one of the things that I contend that you absolutely will notice this. You know, there's a lot of supplements, really, that people are taking in every day that I see folks in my office. They say, I don't know if it's working.
But I take it.
But I take it, Or I'll say, well, how's that working out for you? I don't know. I don't know if I notice any difference. And I bet you I hear that 9 times out of 10. Right. And, of course, a lot of folks in good faith are assuming that they got to take a natural supplement for maybe a period of weeks or months before they're going to notice things. And in many cases, that is definitely true. Yeah. But I think in the case of getting smarter naturally, as we've said this evening,
you feel it right away.
You feel it right away. The DMAE and the Neuro Optimizer, you're going to feel that within a matter of 1 or 2 days. Right. So, great stuff. Also, I want to talk a little bit, if we could, here about the dietary component here. Right. A lot of folks think it's just a matter of pills and pills only, and that's really, that's not the way it is. We talk about the way that the brain, you just mentioned a few minutes ago in the optimizer, the neurooptimizer glucose. So a lot of folks out there that are really jeopardizing their blood sugar levels. And again, your brain basically requires about 90% of your glucose up there. So you can be running the Boston Marathon, your brain is actually burning a lot more of that fuel than your body is. Yeah. So you always have to keep your brain evenly fueled in a balanced manner. You don't want those glucose levels too high, too low, or too erratic, up and down, up and down, up and down. Because your brain really runs off the fuel of glucose, and that is sugar, folks. And you want to keep the simple sugars that really spike your blood sugars out of the picture.
You want to make sure that you're eating good, complex, high-fiber carbohydrates, fruits and vegetables. Those are your sugars.
Yeah.
You don't really want to get much crazier than that when it comes to sugar.
And this is kind of an easy test to, know if you're dealing with blood sugar imbalances is if you, eat a heavy meal or a meal with a lot of, starches, and an hour later you're drinking coffee. So if you have that kind of lifestyle where, you eat and then, I need some coffee. Mm-hmm. Something's going on, and that's typically your blood sugar spiked really, really high,
Yep.
and then it crashed really, really low, and then you're using the caffeine to bring you back.
Right.
Well,
and I think when people are setting up those spikes and valleys like that they don't realize that the problems that they're having are caused by the behaviors and the dietary choices that they're making.
Absolutely.
So it's so important, folks. I mean, we talk about diet all the time. There's no way that I'm going to talk about pills without talking about food on this program.
Right.
It's really essential that you get the message that you can't abuse yourself dietarily and then expect the pills to make up the difference. If you're eating reasonably well or exceptionally well, hopefully, and then using these supplements that we talk about each and every Sunday, you will notice a dramatic change, in this case, in your brain function, memory, recall, mood, etc., concentration levels. And again, as we said with children, I think, so many children are being diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, and I can't imagine how many of those kids have really negative glucose responses in their poor brains.
Right.
I mean, a lot of these kids who basically wake up in the morning and the only thing they're programmed to eat is highly sugared cereals. Then they basically have a highly sugared snack.
Right.
And on it goes, and it's macaroni and cheese for lunch, and before you know it, it's like the whole day went by with no appreciable protein, no appreciable vegetables or fruits.
Wow.
And how do we expect those brains to function from after being fueled in such a way?
Right.
So, these poor kids are just not getting a real benefit of the doubt here of good, healthy behavior, good, healthy diet, and good natural medicine. Because after they abuse their brains with all that sugar, then what ends up happening is they get put on Ritalin. So it's just kind of like adding insult to injury here.
Yeah.
So, think about taking responsibility for dealing with your chemistry the way it was designed to be treated.
Right.
That's a really important part of the equation here. So these supplements will work, but don't expect them to work nearly as efficiently without proper dietary adherence. That's a really important part of the equation. And sugar and coffee are, of course, at the top of that list because we're talking about glucose.
Right.
And essential. So the key here, let's summarize real quickly. Folks want to get smarter naturally, concentration, memory, focus, mental clarity, and mood stability. Yep. The two key recommendations would be the DMAE 100 milligrams twice a day, the Jaro Neuro Optimizer 2 a day.
Yep.
There are some additional things that I think would mention here that either eat the fatty fish, and again, if you're going to take salmon and things like that, it's got to be wild. It can't be farm-raised because that changes the entire lipid issue here. So you want to make sure that you're making sure that you're getting your proper DHA support.
Yep.
I wouldn't hesitate to take a couple of those chewable DHAs.
I know.
The Jaro formulas makes it quite delicious. But in any case, you want to make sure you're getting your good fatty fish or your omega-3s in some shape or form.
And replace those potato chips with almonds or cashews or, dried fruit.
Yes.
That's what I joke around all the time. I'm going to turn into a cashew or an apricot at one moment in my life because I eat cashews and apricots so much, but make those switches and those replacements.
Absolutely. But if you want to get smart, eat smart, and try the DMAE and the Neuro Optimizer. And there you have it.
Yeah.
Goes by quick, doesn't it?
It does.
And Catherine Foley, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great to have you on board here. And for folks interested in watching this podcast, because we always tell you each and every Sunday, it is broadcasted in visual form as well as typical radio form here. So if you want to check it out, you go to the website, www.maxhealing.com. That's one word, maxhealing.com. And each Sunday is up usually by Tuesday afternoon or so you can check it out as the week goes on. And, of course, I'll be doing my typical work on Wednesdays on New England Cable News, and that'll be 9:45, 10:45, 11:45.
It's awesome.
Thanks so much. And also thanks to Adam Ing for doing this podcast work for us, and he makes it all a lot easier. We thank him for that. Stay tuned for Dr. Julie Johnson and Beth as well. And until next Sunday, this is Mark Mincola reminding everybody out there, be wise, be aware, and be well. Make it a healthy week. Good night.
Thank you for joining Mark Mincola for the Natural Health and Healing Show. Call Mark each Sunday evening